All right, good morning. So this is the holiday project. Right now we're St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and then Easter's coming up. But you can do, any holiday you want. So we're just kind of making something related to holidays. It can be something, a piece of art. It can be something that goes on a desk. It can be a tool. You just want to do it holiday themed. So while we're talking about this, I haven't really shown you guys this yet. But right here, we got the magnifying glass. So you can search for shapes there. So you click it, this pops up. Kids always get confused. If you want to get rid of this, just push the X like that, and it goes away. So I'm going to type some things in. I'm going to get a clover. There's a clover for St. Patrick's Day. We can type an egg. Get some eggs for Easter. So you could just decorate an egg if you want, or you can make something kind of cool. So I'm going to start with the clover here, which the size is a little big, but I'm just going to keep it that way. And I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put it all the way down so it is flat. And I'm going to try and make the stem or the root of the clover. So to do that, I'm going to take a round roof piece up. It's underground, so we have to lift it. Okay, I'm going to stretch it a little bit, make it a little bit. Oops, lifted it up, make it a little bit bigger. And we want it to match the same size as the clover, which is, make that 10. That 10. Okay. I'm going to stick that. So what I'm going to do to make this look more like a root, I just duplicated it, repeated it. Make this one whole, and I'm going to stretch it down a little. Oops. That way. A little bit that way. And I'm going to group these together. And then I'm just going to stick this kind of right up there. So when we combine it, looks more like a clover. Now it's bothered me, so I'm going to change its color to green just so it matches. Okay. So I got my full clover, and I am going to customize it a little bit. So I'm going to make this one for my nephew Miles. Lift this up. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to make this whole. And, oh, see, now we got that problem there with the E. This part is not touching anything. So I'm not sure if we've gone over this yet, but to fix something like this, because if I would print this, this part of the E would just fall right off. So I'm going to add this box in. I'm going to make it 10 to match. And we basically want to try and make this about the size of the E. Adjust this a little bit so it fits. So there, when it comes off, you add that on. Now this will be all together. So this is just one example. So you want to think of this project as another free project because you can pretty much do whatever you want but holiday themed. Another one, which this is a little bit harder, some kids have done this right, is to try and make your own egg that can close like an plastic Easter egg. So with that, oh, this is hard, but we're going to shrink this down. Oh, I gotta change my settings. So I'm going to shrink this down to about 9, 4, and then I'm going to align these together. Okay, so if we group these, that should hollow out the egg. For some reason, put a hole in the bottom of the egg. That's wasn't supposed to happen. Try this again. There we go. Now let's try. Okay, so again, that egg should be hollow, so if we make 2 of them, and then let's say we put, so I'm going to take a box, and I'm going to stretch it so it's bigger than the egg, and then I'm going to put it down to as small as I can make it, and I'm going to align this again, so I'm going to line this up in the center. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is duplicate and repeat. So there are 2, and if we take the box, and this is a similar thing we did for the flexible animal project. If we group, there we got that half the egg, and then that half the egg. So now you'd want to try and find a way to make these things come together. And okay, so, oh boy, one way to do that. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to lift this up. All right. Then I'm going to try and you just want it just touching sides of the egg. Oops. So we see it sticking out there, so I'm going to shrink it in a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to lift this up. So what we're going to do is this is going to be hollowed out, and we're going to raise this up right about there. Maybe a little bit more. That way there's enough for this egg to slide on to on this piece here. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to duplicate this cylinder piece. I'm going to make it whole. And I'm going to, what's that? So 44 by 45. I'm going to make this one. I'm going to pull it in one each direction. And then we're going to lift it up. Okay. So it's important to have these 2 things level, and you'll see why in a second. So I am going to select both of them, if it'll let me. Okay, I got both of them. I am going to center or align these on each other, and then I'm going to group them together. So now, oh boy, that's sticking out. So we need to get that back in there. There we go. So you have to eyeball this a lot. Okay. And then you could just print both of these. I might actually make this a little bit taller. Okay. So then you can flip the egg over and combine them together. So these are just 2 options. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Just play around with the search bar here, see what you can find, and then see what you guys can make. And like always, let me know if you have any questions.